Well, trade is important, and Ireland is a small open nation. From an agri-food perspective, we export 90% of the food and drink we export. We have benefited largely from the trade agreements that the EU has done in the past. I see that on the trade missions, only recently back from Korea and Japan, where we have benefited from the access, improved access that we've got over trade agreements with the EU and those countries in recent years, and that's why we want that close working relationship with the US as well. And trade is an ongoing element that has many different elements to it, but I think the US, we look at that in its own right. They're a very large trading bloc, so are we. It is one of the biggest trading relationships in the world, and that's why it deserves to be treated on its own with all of the sensitivities and the focus that the EU have given this. We have engaged in very serious way from an EU perspective. Obviously myself and my Irish ministers met our counterparts in America in recent months, supporting the position of Commissioner Šefčovič and the Commission here in those ongoing negotiations, because we believe as close a working relationship with the Americans as possible is really, really important for all our people afterwards, and other trade agreements discussions are ongoing.
Mercosur, the Commission said we need to double down on deals like that. Your French counterpart said this morning that there's still a group of countries that are opposing it. France is one. I mean, where do you see that going? The Danes want to get a deal by the end of the year. Is Ireland still opposing? And do you have any chance of, defeating it if that's the position still?
So as I said earlier today, again I will be raising our difficulties with Mercosur at the Agri-Fish Council today. The difficulties is particularly for our beef sector. I've highlighted that very clearly, the challenges we have in that space, and we continue to work with like-minded countries who share those difficulties and who have articulated those in recent times.
How many of those countries are there now?
So there are a number of countries who have, and their agricultural ministers who I've engaged with, have clearly stated their difficulties in that regard, and we continue to engage with them around that issue.
May I ask you about MFF? What are your expectations for agriculture?
Well, we've been really clear. An Irish priority is a dedicated ring-fenced budget, a separate standalone cap that protects the two-pillar structure. It has served us so well. We know there are many other competing demands, some of them new compared to the last MFF, but we're really clear. In supporting new measures and having new ambitions across the EU, we can't turn our back on what worked well. Food security is hugely important. The sustainability of our agri-food sector is pivotal, and the EU was a peace project. At its heart was CAP from the start. It has served us really well, and we are determined that it would remain to be a very important pillar of any future MFF.
What's the chance of that ring-fenced being ring-fenced?
We're very hopeful. We're supporting Commissioner Hansen, who has been doing an excellent job. I think it's pretty unique in that Commissioner Hansen has unanimity across the Agri-Fish Council, as we've seen at previous councils where we have given him a full mandate to support him in his efforts. And in Commissioner Hansen we have a Commissioner who is really fighting hard for the agri-food sector, for European farmers, and we in Ireland greatly appreciate that.
If that ring-fence budget is not there, if the two-pillar structure changes, or if the cap is reduced significantly in size, would Ireland be prepared to oppose the MFF?
So there's an awful lot of ifs there. Negotiations are ongoing. We have been really clear. One of Ireland's priorities in our MFF, not just as me as Minister for Agriculture, but from our Taoiseach, our Taoiseach as Minister for Foreign Affairs and Trade, our Minister for Finance, who's obviously Chair of the ECOFIN as well, we have set as a top priority for us protecting the cap as part of our MFF negotiations, and we continue to highlight that point all the way up to Wednesday.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Thanks, Mr.